Well, the White House is responding to the latest in a string of ethics concerns about the Trump administration's relationship with the family's businesses. Press Secretary Sean Spicer says one of the president's top advisors, Kellyanne Conway, has been counseled after making a sales pitch during a live TV interview.
They're using the most prominent woman in Donald Trump's, most prominent.
Right.
She's his daughter, and they're using her, who's been a champion for women empowerment, women in the workplace, to get to him. So I think people can see through that.
30
go
seconds.
buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would tell you. I hate shopping. I'm gonna go get some on myself today. This is it's a wonderful line. I own some of it. I'm gonna give a free commercial here. Go buy it today, everybody. You can find it online.
Well, Democrats are now calling for an investigation into those comments. One prominent lawmaker saying they appear to be a, quote, textbook violation of government ethics laws and regulations, unquote. Just a day earlier, the president used his personal White House and Twitter accounts to attack Nordstrom, a department store, for dropping his daughter's product line.
One consumer advocacy group says Conway's action reflects an ongoing careless disregard of the conflicts of interest laws and regulations. Joining us now to talk more about this is Norman Eisen, former White House ethics czar in the Obama administration. Really appreciate your time. I want to first off the bat just get your reaction when you saw that clip of the counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, giving a commercial, as you said, for Ivanka Trump's merchandise. What did you think about that? And do you think she was aware of ethics rules?
Amra, thank you for having me. Hello, Michael. And I have to tell you, even though I've seen that clip over and over again today, when you played it just now, my jaw literally dropped. It's not just because Kellyanne Conway violated the ethics regulations by doing that. It's not just because it's a bipartisan condemnation. You've seen Republicans, President Bush's ethics counselor, Jason Chaffetz, who's the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, condemning it. It's because it's part of a larger pattern of this president, his family, and the people around him, the people who work for him, exploiting the White House for personal gain. It starts at the top, Amra, and this president has refused to do what every president has done, both parties for 40 years, give up his ownership interests. He's nakedly exploiting the White House, getting foreign government payments and benefits in violation of the Constitution, and that disdain for ethics is spreading. So that's why this is so troubling.
You know, there was another one, too, I wanted to run by you, and that is the First Lady, Melania Trump. She's got a lawsuit going on alleging slander against the newspaper, but the point being that part of the case talks about her losing the opportunity to launch a broad-based commercial brand in multiple product categories, which would have garnered multi-million-dollar business during her time as First Lady. I'm just curious. I mean, the idea of making money after you've been First Lady is fine, but what are the ethics guidelines when it comes to you're going to lose? I mean, the suit's for $150 million, by the way, saying that I've lost $150 million that I could have made as First Lady.
Michael, it's the words she uses in the suit are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Public service should be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to help the country, not to get rich. And the thing that is so telling about the First Lady's complaint in which she says that, about what Kellyanne Conway did today, about the president's Nordstrom tweet, and then the press secretary saying it was political when Nordstrom says it wasn't political at all. It's part of a pattern that spreads from the top of exploiting this office the way the Kardashians exploited reality TV to make a fortune. That's what the Trumps and their colleagues seem to be doing here. And by the way, it's spreading to their cabinet. This is the most conflicted, the largest number of ethics messes of any presidential cabinet. This administration is an ethics train wreck spreading from the president refusing to give up his ownership interests.
So what is the law I mean, there is no law or criminal statute, right? This is just a rule that is in place.
Well, Amra, it is the law. Of course, we have our fundamental law, the Constitution. We have our statutes, but the statutes authorize federal officials to pass regulations. Those regulations are law. And this action is a violation by Kellyanne Conway. No one disagrees. The White House counsel called her in and said he gave her counseling. That's it? It's like the first presidential pardon of the Trump administration. This is a serious violation of a regulation that is American law. She ought to have known better. She had ethics training. I'm sure they covered this. And because it's part of this larger pattern of exploiting for personal gain, it's very troubling. That's why we need Mr. Trump's tax returns. Why do 75% of Americans want those tax returns? Because they want to understand how deep do the conflicts run, including with foreign government money.
I suppose you could also say if Kellyanne Conway was being counseled on this, that's almost a tacit admission she did something wrong, the White House almost admitting that. I'm just curious, for ethicists like you, how much difficulty does that create for people in the White House who are responsible for or are interested in ethics when the White House they shrug this off. They say it doesn't matter. They say the people don't care. What sort of problems does that create?
Well, it sets a terrible tone. The people do care. That's why 75% of them, including most of Trump voters, want the tax returns. They don't want it for prurient reasons, Michael. They want to understand what are this man's and his family's conflicts. There's a lot of information in those tax returns. And it's not just up to the White House. If they're going to behave this way, including these mild, it's not even a slap on the wrist, it's a tap on the wrist counseling, the courts are going to get involved. That's why I'm part of a litigation to require Trump to stop accepting these foreign government payments and benefits that are compromising him in the White House. And we're going to look to the courts to do something about it. And the states. So there are checks and balances.
Well, this is obviously something that we're going to continue to talk about, and please come back to the program. It was great getting your voice on. Norman Eisen, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that.